Hey guys, my name is Bhushan. Welcome back to the JSP and Servlet beginner course. In this video, we will create our very first Servlet class and we will look at some of the Servlet methods. So let's get started. Before creating a Servlet, let's look at the roadmap to this section. Obviously, the first step is to create a package inside the source folder. The second step is to create a class inside the package and convert that class into a Servlet class. The third step is to design the index.html. We will create a form with the two text boxes and a submit button. The fourth step is to configure the web.xml. We will map the URL to the newly created servlet. The last and final step is to discuss the two important servlet methods. I'm inside the Eclipse IDE, so the first step is to create a package inside the source folder. Go to the project. I will use the same project which I have created in the previous lecture. Double click on the project, go to Java resources. Inside the source folder, we will create our package. Right click on the source folder, go to new, choose package, give a name to our package. I will give my YouTube channel name, com.b2tech, click finish. Inside the package, we will create our Java class. Right click on the package, go to new, choose class. You can give any name to your class. I will call this first servlet. Click finish. So we have created our Java class. Now we have to convert this Java class to a servlet. So the way to do is, let's extend this class with a HTTP servlet. Extends HTTP servlet, which is from javax.servlet.http package. Now this class becomes a servlet. Now we are able to use the features of servlet. Before discussing the servlet methods, let's design our index.html. Go to web content, double click on the index.html. Let me remove this heading tag first. I will quickly create a form, open a form and close a form. So I'll create a two text box, one for first name and one for last name. Enter first name, input type is equal to text, and I'll give a name to our text box, f name, which is nothing but a first name, and I'll put a break. Enter last name, input type is equal to text, name is equal to lname, which is nothing but a last name, and I'll put a break, and I'll create a submit button. Input type is equal to submit, value is equal to submit. A form contains two main attributes. One is action and one is method. As I said before, HTTP request contains three main things: a URL, HTTP method, and an optional parameters. So here the parameters are first name and last name. Action contains the URL and method contains the HTTP method. So let's go ahead and specify those things. Action is equal to the URL. I'll call this process first servlet. You can give any name you want. Method is equal to get. For now, let's use get request. Later we will change it to post request. Go to web.inf, double click on the web.xml. Inside the web.xml, we will map the URL to a specific servlet. Web.xml contains two main tags, servlet and servlet mapping. Servlet, it contains two subtags, servlet name and a servlet class. Servlet mapping, it contains 2 subtags, servlet name and a URL pattern. Let's specify the servlet name first. First servlet. You can give any name you want, and we have to specify the same name inside the servlet mapping as well. First servlet. Inside the servlet class, we will specify the newly created servlet class. We have to specify the fully qualified class name, which is nothing but we have to specify the package name also. So com.b2tech.firstServlet. Inside the URL pattern, we will specify the URL. We have to specify the same name that we have specified in the action attribute. So I will go to the index.html and I will copy the URL. Inside the URL pattern, put a slash and paste it. Don't forget to put a slash. Once it is done, save it. Let's go to the servlet class. Let's discuss the two most important servlet methods. When we create a servlet, it provides so many methods for us. If you go to the implementation of the HTTP servlet, you can find almost all the methods which are available. Among them, two are the most important methods. One is doGet and doPost. Every servlet contains either one of these methods, doGet or a doPost. When we create a new servlet, as a developer, we have to override any one of these methods. Sometimes we will override both the methods. So the question is, which method we have to override and when? Well, the answer is very simple. If the request is a GET request, then we will override the doGet method. If the request is a POST request, then we will override the doPost method. If you go to the index.html, here we are using a GET request. So let's override the doGet method. To override a method in Eclipse, there are two ways. Type the method name and hit Ctrl spacebar and select the method and hit enter. Or you can go to the source option and choose override or implement methods and select the methods that you want to override from the list and click OK. I will remove the comments. When we override doGet and doPost, the servlet provides two special objects, HTTP servlet request, HTTP servlet response. The request object contains three things: a URL, HTTP method, and an optional parameters that the client is sending. Response contains the data that we are going to write. Inside the doGet method, let's access the parameters that the client is sending. We will use get parameter to access the parameters. Request dot get parameter, and we have to specify the parameter name that we want to access. I'll specify the text box name, which is nothing but a F name. We have to specify the same name that we have specified in the name attribute, and this will return a string, and I will call this first name. And I will access the second parameter, request.get parameter, L name, which is nothing but a last name, and this will return a last name. Let's concatenate these two names. String full name is equal to first name plus last name. Let's print this in a console. System.out.println, my name is, and I will append a full name. Save this. Before run and test this application, if you watched my previous video, when we run this application, the output will be displayed in an Eclipse internal web browser. I don't want that. We want to see the output in an system web browser. So what you can do is go to the window option and choose web browser and select the default system web browser. This will select a Safari on my machine. So if you are using any other web browsers like Chrome or Mozilla, go to the Eclipse settings. In my case, it's a preferences, and type web browser. I'm using a system browser, which is a Safari, so I have checked this default system web browser. You can select new option and type the browser name that you want to use, and select the browse and select the browser that you want to use and click OK, and click OK. Now go to the window option, go to the web browser. Here you can see the browser that you have created recently. So now right click on the project, choose run as, run on server, select the server, click next and click finish. So this will open in a Safari browser. I will open Eclipse and I will clear the console because I want to see the output, and go back to the browser. Let's type a name, Bhushan, last name Sirgur, and click on submit. Minimize this and go to the console. Here you can see the output. My name is Bhushan Sirgur. Open a browser. So we are using a GET request. The parameters will be appended to the URL and it is visible to everyone. The URL and the parameters will be separated with a question mark, and the parameters will be separated with the ampersand symbol. Let's figure out what was happened. When we run the application, the control goes to the web.xml and it will look into the welcome file list, and the index.html will be executed, and the form will be displayed to the user. The user enter a first name, last name and click the submit button. The request goes to the process first servlet URL. Go to the web.xml and it will find the same URL. Once the URL is found, it will look into the servlet name, and the same servlet name will be found in the servlet tag. Once the servlet name is found, it will look into the servlet class and the specified servlet name will be executed. In this case it's a first servlet and it will go to the first servlet. So we are using a GET request, so the doGet method will be executed and the message will be displayed to the console. So we'll quickly override the doPost and I will copy the same code and I will paste it inside the doPost, and I will go to the index.html and I will change the method name from get to post, and I will go to the console and I will stop the server. Go to the project, right click on the project, go to run as, choose run on server, click next, click finish, and this will open in a new tab. Enter a first name Bhushan, enter a last name Sirgur and click the submit button. If you see the URL, the parameters will not be visible and it is hidden inside the body because we are using a post. When we use a post request, the parameters will be hidden inside the body, and if you go to the console, you can see the message, my name is Bhushan.